What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another late night in the BrewLab with me, Lone Fox, your Brewmaster-in-Chief. And tonight, in the BrewLab, I am coming at you with another control deck. Another stinky control deck with some of those cards that I hate to play against and love to cast on the opponent, even though I do feel a little icky when I do so. But if it gets the wins, it gets the wins. And I did mention in a couple of times in the last couple of videos how there's very little of new in terms of alternate win cons and cool new kind of strategies for control from Lost Caverns of Ixalan, other than little upgrades to pre-existing strategies. I'm talking, of course, about my preferred control win con over the last, say, 3 months or so has been Mill. Ever since the introduction of Jace, the Mind, the new Jace. Is it Mindbreaker? Jace the Mindbreaker? Anyway, in that Mill deck, we now have Restless Reef, the Dimir Mansland that turns into a 4/4 Death Touch when it attacks Mill target player for 4. Can be both used in self-mill, can also be used in just good old mill. But, that's the one new card in a shell that remains largely unchanged. Maybe a slightly different removal spell here or there, and so on. But I have come up with a very nice Dimir Mill deck. We will be doing that one the day after tomorrow. I'm putting the final touches on it. Even though it's mostly old cards, they're put together in a way that hasn't been done yet, at least as far as my channel, and it's finally popping off. I've gone on a bit of a tear with it on the ladder. I'm now back up into the higher 90s, which is nice. But for tonight, we're going to be exploring the one and only new alternate win con from Lost Caverns of Ixalan, and I'm talking, of course, about the Millennium Calendar. That is, the type of match that control players like, where things go very late. You just spend the entire time either removing, sweeping, or countering everything the opponent, deploys as a threat, until at which point you get your win con off. And there's nothing more indicative of that type of game style than the Millennium Calendar, because it requires quite a lot of turns before you can get to the necessary 1,000 counters on it for it to go off. When I initially saw that card, straight away I jumped onto the more combo approach. We all know how much I love me some good old combo decks, and so alongside All Be One, we were doing I tried a bunch of different versions. Very fun, and I still think criminally underplayed. Really easy to do, and there's so many different shells that it can go in. As long as you have red for the All Be One, then you can decide what you want to do with the rest of the colors. We tried Rakdos, we tried Azorius, we tried a bunch of different things. I beg your pardon. We tried white. No, yeah, we tried Boros, and we tried anyway. I'll have to go back and look at my videos and see. But the point is, this time we're not going for the combo finish. We're just trying to semi-fairly just continuously apply counters on it and prevent the opponent from getting rid of the Millennium Calendar before you can do so by using counter magic. Also, there is, which surprises me, very little in the ways of artifact removal that people are running in Best of One. Even though when seeing the amount of cool new artifact stuff from Lost Caverns of Ixalan in the early part of this meta, I was running a lot of artifact removal spells because I was sure that some of them would be staples in decks, but for whatever reason, most of the stuff that's been happening is kind of tribal, especially in Best of One. And so the artifact removal, I've started to just take it out. Even the abrades that I was mainboarding and things I've slowly been sort of taking them out. They're not really as important. So for that reason, the Millennium Calendar just tends to stick to the board, and instead of using protection spells like, I don't know, we could even use Surge of Salvation to give all of our permanents, or even Lauren's Escape. It gives also target artifact hexproof and indestructible. I was initially thinking of going about it that route if the opponent was the rare opponent who does run artifact removal. You know, just before we finally get our Millennium Calendar thing to pop off, they just remove it. Then what are we going to do to win the game? In this case, I'm going to be using counter spells instead to ensure that it remains on the battlefield. So I think that is a very long-winded introduction, but now you all know what to expect. And so without further ado, let's jump into tonight's brew. Simply called Calendar Control. And here's the Dimir Mill one with the Restless Reef on the deck box. This is coming very soon. So Calendar Control. No surprises, right? The new cards are literally just 2, and there's the Man's Land, the Restless Anchorage. I'm on the verge of cutting it and putting in 2 Field of Ruins instead, or we might just do that anyway. Maybe cut the Adarkar Wastes, one Adarkar Waste, one, you know, some of these duels that enter the battlefield tapped later into the game. Maybe the Seachrome Coast. Maybe cut one of those, because Field of Ruin, you know, the times when you can get destroyed as a control mage is when the opponent is running creature lands or man's lands, and there's now one in every color combination. So I've been thinking of adjusting the mana base a little bit as we go through tonight's video, see how it ends up if we get beaten down a lot by people with man's lands. I'm thinking most especially Golgari mid-range with the Restless Cottage. We may want to put in some Field of Ruins instead of Mirrex and Restless Anchorage as our utility lands. Otherwise, the mana base is pretty, you know, obvious. And as well as the rest of the cards here, we're playing all the gross stuff. Wandering Emperor, Sunfall to, you know, remove some things alongside Get Lost, full play set. And then, like I said, plenty of counter spells. And then we're going to be doing our little, well, at least my favorite card draw life gain combo for control decks that helps survive against mono red until the point at which you can fire off a Sunfall, which is the Silver Scrutiny Union of the Third Path, where once you get to a point in the game when you have a lot of mana, you, at the end of the opponent's turn, draw 1,000,000 cards and then cast the Union of the Third Path and gain 1,000,000 life, and that should keep you alive until Sunfall. Of course, our Planeswalkers on the 4-drop slot also have abilities that gain 2 life. The -2 from Wandering Emperor we all know and hate, and love, hate, I don't know. And then the +1 from Teferi gains you 2 life. But the whole point of Teferi here is and I did mention it earlier in the introduction, as we're mostly fairly trying to apply the 1,000 counters on the Millennium Calendar, we can also, in some turns, do the doubling of the counters by paying 2 with the Teferi, because the +1 allows you to untap. So you untap, let's say, your Celestus and the land and the Millennium Calendar. Oh no, sorry, it's only 1 artifact, so not the Celestus, but you know what I'm saying. Like we can in one turn potentially activate the Millennium Calendar twice, doubling twice. And I've now had it pop off in testing twice, and then the other times the opponent just conceded from boredom because I was constantly you know, countering their things and destroying all their stuff. And it felt pretty fun, I'm not going to lie. So here we are with Calendar Control in Azorius. I don't think I need to go over everything in absolute detail. As I said, a lot of these are older cards. Really just Get Lost, testing this out, as opposed to, you know, previous versions of this deck. I would have run Fateful Absence and Destroy Evil, maybe a 2 of each. This does cover more bases, but giving those 2 map tokens, it depends on the matchup, but like I found myself giving those map tokens to mono red, giving those map tokens to, you know, soldiers, dinos, any of that stuff, it being really, really terrible. Let's keep testing it out, see what happens, but I'm not a huge fan, honestly, of Get Lost, but it does hit all of the things that I kind of need to hit. It's just, yeah, giving the opponent two permanents is almost never a good thing. So yeah, let's see if we can, you know, if we find an opponent nice enough to let us actually fire this off and gain the 1,000 life, or whether everybody's just going to scoop before that even happens. Obviously 26 lands in the deck, because it's a control deck. I always go up an extra 2. Some might argue we need a little bit more than that, but I found with the Celestus here, it's been just fine as is. Okie dokes. Let's jump into some games. See how the deck holds up on this starting to be sort of end of the season Mythic ladder. Which is generally when Control starts to rear its ugly head. You know, early in the meta and in a new format, when a new set's drop, as we've seen, aggro really rules the roost. Then it starts to shift a little bit to a more mid-rangey thing. And then once the Control mages figure out the meta, then Control, as I said, rears its ugly head. Yeah, that seems fine to me. That seems perfectly fine to me. Also, I'm not going for like the make disappears because of Cavern of Souls. So we're going with Negate instead, because then, like I said, we're going to be using the counter spells to protect our calendar from opponents' artifact removal, if they run it at all. Aha! How's that? Freaking control mirror right off the bat. Unless this is Esper, you know, mid-range or Esper, you know. Doesn't look like it. I get the sneaking suspicion this is just... Ha! There's a calendar. There's Teferi. Very nice. Okay. It's definitely not Esper Rafine. This is looking more and more like just Esper Control, which means probably Farewell, unfortunately. Maybe even Esper Planeswalkers.
We must protect the people.
Remember to always tap down all your stuff so that more things are untapping when the calendar goes off. Yes. And I think we're most probably going to be Otawaring the Samurai and then get losting the Wandering Emperor the turn after that. That will still tap down all of our things. Also, it's uncounterable. I was really hoping he would plus the Samurai.
Watch for intruders.
Could be like also, unfortunately, Void Rend, which is uncounterable on the Millennium Calendar. That would be devastating, of course. This color combination does have access to that. Okay, so we're staring down the barrel of a Farewell, I would say, considering what the opponent is jamming here. So let's plus and hope to, you know, hang on. Minus? Look for a counterspell? No luck. Hey, if it's Farewell, I mean, we'll just call it a night. It probably means it's just one of those games we were never supposed to win in the first place. That's fine. That's fine. That's totally fine. Completely fine with that. We're on 26 life anyway. It's just if it's a Walker's deck, they almost always run Farewell. The only plus side is his own Celestus will get removed. I'm not going to use this Get Lost on his little 2/2s. I'm not scared about them for now. Okay. 3, 1, 2. Okay. Pass the turn. Draw 3. I'm not gonna cast this now. Okay. Maybe now I will. There is a Dissipate.
Run away. You'll be safer.
Sunfall, also nice for this army of little duders. Voidrend. I don't want to look. I'm terrified. I'm fairly certain this is the type of person who's playing Voidrend. Okay. Okay. Should I get lost this thing? Okay, he's tapping out. This is good. This is very, very good. I think yeah, with the union, we're gonna stay ahead of these man's lands, but it's making me more and more think we should bring in those Field of Ruins I mentioned earlier. So this is fine. I think we're just gonna union. And I won't cast a second, I won't cast a Farewell now. We're still on enough life. I'm really trying to hold up this Dissipate now for... the only thing we're, like I've been saying a few times, it's going to be Voidrend. And I would not be surprised if he's running it. But if instead he's going to go for the Farewell, at least we're covered on that angle. 58 on the Millennium Calendar. We even have enough mana to Dissipate and double the counters. So I'm going to do that anyway in response to whatever he's got going here. Okay. Looks like he's going to activate again. So now let's see. Since we don't need the Dissipate, where is he going to put this +1? Aha. Okay, so... oh, beg your pardon. Undo. Sure. One mana. You can't use it now anyway. Oh, the Sunfall is going to be glorious. Oh, he can use it. Oh, silly. Should have waited until beginning of combat. Finds a land. Finds an Iron Crag. Okay. Now we can get rid of this Wandering Emperor with the Restless Anchorage. And... so 5... yeah, I think actually, you know what? We're still gonna just be holding up this Dissipate. And then maybe just make a Mirrex token. And life is starting to be and yes, wow, like crazy to get a chance to prove what I was describing in the introduction in the very first match of the night. And of course the algorithm, like I haven't played against something like this in a good while now, and of course now we're just running into it all the time. So we can We can block. I think that's going to have to be the go here.
Show them how we greet our enemies.
Again, we don't need to hold up to Dissipate, because there's nothing the opponent has available. Love to find a freaking Wandering Emperor to deal with this creature land. Okay. We're just dead, no? Okay. Not quite yet. Not quite dead yet. That's close. That I will keep. We can still block with our own creature land. But this thing also pings us every time, right? So it's getting very, very hairy. We had a bit of a flood there. And yes, the creature lands are beating us down. I'm going to be replacing, I think, our own creature lands. They're good, but I think I'd rather rely on Mirrex in control than Restless Anchorage. That was another thing that would have hurt our Millennium Calendar. Pretty happy about that. If it's the Void Ren now, I don't know, we just concede. We ended up against the one opponent that, like, you know, typical. Absolutely typical. Okay, okay. This does mean that the man's land is not coming our way. He's gonna mill our Teferi away, which is pretty frustrating. Oh, I would have loved that union. Sometimes it's just enough to have two cards in hand and the opponent doesn't really find what they need for you to go, okay, there we go. I'm going to concede right now. I don't think he should have. I think he had our backs to the wall here. 5 life, aggressive man's lands. I'm not entirely sure why he conceded, but I, for one, am happy. So, Millennium Calendar 1, Esper Walkers, or whatever the hell that was, 0. So let's make those BrewLabifications. I don't want to get into that situation again. I think, you know, Mirrex isn't really a man's land, but it is, you know, it is. Let's just be honest here and cut the Restless Anchorage field of Ruin. 2 copies. Let's go. On to the next one. That's, I think, the reason why, like, I latched onto the combo version of the Millennium Calendar deck at first, because you get to actually do something really cool with it before the opponent concedes. Like, I don't think we're going to have too many opponents that are going to sit around for me to get to 1,000 counters. But if just the threat of that happening is enough for you to win, then who am I to complain, right? A lot of Pains lands if it's mono red, but also pretty decent, honestly. So let's keep that. Boros could also not be. Uh-oh. Arena hanged again. Guys, this is happening so much more regularly than I think it ought to. Please bear with me. Fortunately, I have a very quick laptop, and we shall be back in within a matter of seconds. And we are back. Sorry about that. Wow. What? What? All 4 Adarkar Wastes in the top 10 cards of your library, I think is oh, shit. Shuffler needs work. Arena team, if you're watching this, I know you aren't, but that is some bullshit. There's almost no way that that happens. Okay, so Sunfall here gonna be a big W. Be great to draw into that. I'm not gonna play the calendar now because we have some 3-mana instant speed interaction that I may need to use. Maybe it's Jeskai that what's the So this is going to go to at least a 3/3, which is 6 damage. If we counter it... Is that really worth it? I think Union here is the better way, because we're going to gain 7 life. And that pretty much just mitigates his turn. And I won't even cast it now, in case there is counter magic, which I kind of doubt. But it is totally possible. I honestly wouldn't have played Virtuoso in a Jeskai shell, but I have a feeling there's that Narset. Why, hello there, my dear friend. Okay, so let's hold up Dissipate and then try and Sunfall next turn. The only thing that'll save him is a phase out. Which I'm fairly certain they do run, right? I mean, why wouldn't you? I'm gonna flash an Emperor and make a token just to block with. And hope he uses up his last... There we go. Now we're talking. There's no phase out. What's this doing? +2, +1. Doesn't give menace or anything, so we can still block with a little 2/2. And then we sweep the board. He'll probably just concede at that point. Would be my guess.
Much during my travels. Let me show guards to me.
There's a way to give... Okay, now we've already blocked. You could have reacted. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Because he's if he was probably worried that if he tapped Skrelv. So Sunfall is the answer. Off you go, my friend. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Oh.
Keep watch for intruders.
Like I said in the introduction. Casting it feels great. Having it cast upon you, not as great. Now we can go to town with our Millennium Calendar and start to do the thing. And we still have Dissipate and Get Lost. Bye. Bye-bye. If you're playing Virtuoso, I think going into Jeskai just mucks up the water. You just want to have phase out for the Sunfalls and all the exile removal. Skrelv, great idea. Combat Research, great idea. I wouldn't have played this. I still think it's one of the best decks and the most criminally underplayed decks in the format. I've just put up so many versions of it that I'm not interested in trying it again right now. But there's even been a couple of cool new combat tricks that give hexproof from LCI that are worth playing, that give flying, I believe, and hexproof, and a little like you know, stat boost. So definitely some cool new cards to jam in there, but it's just still so similar. But I still highly recommend it and very budget friendly. 2-0. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. These videos I do with Control tend to go a little longer or contain less matches because the matches take longer to run, of course, as opposed to an aggro deck, which is my usual sort of. The times when Field of Ruin is a problem. Keep. Yeah, that's fine. Mulliganing on the play is never a nice thing. Merfolk, I don't think, have any real way of dealing with this. Oh, negate you beauty. Now we're rolling. I'm not really interested in countering his Merfolks. I'm interested in sweeping them or get lost in them. This is uncounterable, as you can see, because of the cavern. Flashing it in during his turn, honestly not ideal. But you do you, mate. You do you. I've actually even got the one to pay. But here we are in a situation where probably giving the opponent that's trying an explore kind of a thing map tokens. Definitely a tick on the side of maybe let's not play Get Lost in Control decks. But please let me know what you think in the comments. A 0 mana Spelunk. That is so juicy. Actually, considering we anyway only going to get to draw 3, I'll do this at instant speed and pretend we have something. Yes, some card draw was exactly what I wanted to see right now, honestly. And then taps out again. Finds a meeting of minds, of all things. Okay. Why, hello there! Very nice. Very, very nice. I think let's let him populate this board a little more before we go. If I play this now, keeping up my white mana, we can... Will we still have enough for Wandering Emperor? No, we will not. So, I think we're just gonna pass the turn. We need one more mana. I do want to hold this up. Catch something unawares. Just let us remember that this thing acts as a kind of counter spell. So I want him to counter my Wandering Emperor so that then he doesn't have things to sack to counter the Sunfall at a later stage. So let's do that. Anyway, we're kind of trying to tap our Millennium, you know, as many permanents as we can for Millennium Calendar. Haven't really had a Teferi do much. I will pay, because now he needs to, you know, sack the other one too. He may have the other...
Feel the energy of battle, then guide it like water.
There's a Merfolk that will counter this triggered ability or activated ability. The what's it called? Vidalian something. Fine with me. I'm going to Sunfall that quite happily. We even have the backup Sunfall.
Remember your training.
Poor opponent is also bricking quite heavily. Does not bother me one bit. Ah, this is like convoke, convokey merfolkies. So now we can play this, activate this.
Let your blade do the talk.
And pretend we have something in hand, and then we'll go for the doubling. That's cool. That's a nice little card, but not one I'm particularly worried about. I will just block with my 2/2. Yeah. $48.
We've got the edge in this fight.
I kind of want to draw more than 3. Our life totals are fine. Like, who cares? We don't need to bluff much now. So let's draw 1, 2, 4. That'll still leave us with 2 mana for a negate or something. Oh, yeah. Speak of the devil. Oh, and you know, also the 2 mana to do the doubling thing. I feel so safe with Silver Scrutiny into Union. This game is going about as flawlessly as a game can go for a control mage. I'm honestly very happy with the situation right now. I could have cast that Union the previous turn, but now... but before playing that land for more life gain. But what I'm going to do... What? Do we let it go tonight? Are we going to even discard anything? Do I want to discard my Otawara when we could use it to bounce something? Maybe we just use it for the life gain regardless. But don't take the action. I like that. Okay, I see. You're convoking to tap. We've seen some creative ways of doing this the last couple of matches.
Le chef's kiss. It's very nice.
Oh, that was just glorious, people. Oh my lordy lord. Let's tap you. Tapping everything. We're up to how much? I'll take the action this time. Okay, in this case, I'll happily Field of Ruin your cavern. If that makes you think I have a so what do we want? Blue, white? Doesn't really matter at this point. You know, now he's thinking maybe, oh, he's got counter spells in hand so that he can counter my Merfolk. And that might cause him to think twice. Which is honestly just fantastic. Let's minus this one.
Until next time, then. Guards, to me.
Make a nice big old 8/8. Wow, life is good, people. Life is good right now. I haven't had this much fun playing Control in a while. It takes a bit of time before I start to want to play it, and it's usually after a losing streak, as I had and mentioned so many times in the last few videos. This we can counter. If you don't concede now, I don't know what else I need to do, honestly.
Show them how we greet our enemies.
Hey, good on you for not conceding, my friend. If you let us get this to 1,000, I'll be so stoked. I don't think he will. Disgusting. I feel gross. Like, I feel disgusted with myself, honestly.
We've got the edge in this fight.
And now we double the calendar. 1,000. Yeah! Yes, people. Yes! On camera. Got it to fire. I'm done. That is it for tonight's video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. We're even at the 40-minute mark. I think we can really just call that a night. We beat a control deck. We beat a tribal deck with Cavernous Souls. And what was the other guy there in the middle? I can't even remember. Boros something. He was trying to do so. Oh, yeah. Sorry. No, it was Jeskai, Illuminator, Virtuoso. So a little spread of various things. There's definitely other matchups that might have gone worse. I would have loved to see how this would have performed against, the other sort of this type of strategy things that want to go long, or even maybe domain ramp. Would have been interesting to see that, but take it from me, the win rates are there, and the threat of the Millennium Calendar alone can get people to concede. And if you find an opponent that is as nice as NDR here has been, you actually get to do the thing every now and again, and it looks amazing. Minus 999. Mwah! That is going to be it, guys. Let's just jump back into the deck quickly with some final thoughts. I honestly don't think there are many. There's an answer. I mean, there's an argument to be made for some of the tech from the more mill version of this deck, because when I play Azorius, I always play Union of the Third Path and Silver Scrutiny. But sometimes I'll play, because I usually don't play Teferi in that deck, and I won't play as many counter spells, and I don't play the Millennium Calendar, then I have, I'll play the temporary lockdown, maybe some depopulates, that sort of stuff. But honestly, with the Union, with the Celestus, and the life gain from both of our Planeswalkers, the need for a sweeper sooner than Sunfall has felt unnecessary. I even beat some mono red players on the draw, so believe me or don't, that is what I have to say about it. But of course, you will find those matches where the opponent just curves out beautifully, and you don't have some of these answers that also gain a bit of life, and then mono red will just run you over. But other than that, chef's kiss. Then I liked the addition of the Field of Ruins there. I'm going to leave that. Then as far as Get Lost, I'm still not convinced. I'm still on the fence. Please sound off in the comments. What do you think about this card? Are we just better off running a little spread of things like Destroy Evil and Fateful Absence and the other 2-mana white removal, target removal spells? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. But that is going to be it for this one, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, don't forget, please like, comment, subscribe. Share this video around to all of your friends. And I will, of course, be seeing you all in the next one with another fresh brew. And until then, This is Lone Fox from the BrewLab, signing out. Peace, y'all.